What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down how wide receivers can get insane footwork off the line and how you guys can break a DB's ankle with these press releases. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it could teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you would like to get some work in with us this offseason, we are going to be traveling out to 15 states across the country for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver camps. So we're going to be coming out to San Francisco, Orlando, New Orleans, Charlotte, Dallas, the DMV, St. Louis, Honolulu, Boston, Cleveland, Austin, Seattle, Newark, Denver, and Los Angeles, California. So if you guys are local to those areas, would like to get some work in with us for 2 whole days, fellas, check out that very first link in the description below. We would love to have you out. Let's get started. So this first release here, this is one of my favorite releases to work, and this is called a Kickstep crossover release. It is a 4-step release made popular by Cooper Kupp in the Super Bowl to catch this game winner, pretty much a game-winning fade ball. So it's watch at full speed. So the first step of this is a kick step behind you. Now, a lot of people will teach you never, ever want to cross your feet over like that. You are going to get jammed. And that's probably true when the DB's right in your face. But when we got some cushion, we want to use this release when this DB's inside shade. Maybe I'm off the ball or maybe he's about 2 yards away from me. Because this kick step behind, you want to step with your right foot. The steps of this are right, step behind, left, gather, step, 1-2 into a crossover. So it's right, left, right, left. But the first 2 steps, that kick step and that gather step, get you to the DB. It helps you square up the DB and attack his leverage. Because we want to use this release when the DB's inside shade because it threatens the inside. When he's inside shade, he's trying to prevent the slant, the drag, the dig. So we got to make him think that. I have to square him up and threaten him to that leverage to give me space to the outside. So this is a great release to do so. Now, some of you may feel this is uncomfortable, and that's fine. The next release we're going to show here from Keenan Allen is the more like traditional way of doing this, and some of you might find it a little bit more comfortable. There's no wrong answer to this. The main thing is we have to square him up and we have to attack it. This is just a way to do so. So you go behind, you kick with the right, you step with the left, and there is something about that movement, fellas, that loads your hips up. You kick step behind, you take that prep step, your feet are both inside of your frame, and that next 2 crossover steps can be very explosive. You have a lot of suddenness to them because your hips are loaded. They're inside of your frame, and that can help you sell to the inside to get separation. So, fellas, that kick step crossover release. Another reason why I like this release is because in press coverage, what's a DB supposed to be looking at? Your hips. So when you kick behind, that just is extra movement with your hips that might throw off that DB's eyes. He's maybe never seen that before. That type of look might confuse him, might throw him off, and that could also lead to separation. So fellas, this is a very, very creative way to attack a DB's leverage, and it's an insane move. If you guys get it down, can get you a lot of space. Let's play this again, full speed. Great job by Kupp using that move, kick step, crossover, and then winning on this fade. So now we're going to look at a route here from Keenan Allen. And this is more of like, I would call this a hesitation skip release. So like a hesitation skip crossover. So pretty much what you were doing is you were going to be reaching with your front foot, crossing over left, right, but you were pushing off of your back foot. Now, some people like to take a step with this back foot. So it would be left, reach with the right, left, right, which is the crossover. So it would be push, reach, left, right into the crossover. And it's the same type of look. We got some space, kind of not so much off the ball, but we got some space to work with this DB, maybe about 1 yard or 2. So we want to threaten his leverage. I want to threaten the inside leverage to get him to move and keep his leverage. So you see, he reaches with the front foot. He is trying to gain ground. A lot of times he's pushing off of this back foot. A lot of times what guys will do on this hesitation skip is they'll jump. They'll hop to the DB. But when you hop to the DB, number 1, when your cleats are out of the grass, you're not balanced because you're not in the grass. And 2, when your chest is popped up in the air, all it takes is 1 easy punch from this DB. That's what they will teach DBs, fellas. They will teach them. If they see a wide receiver doing that hesitation move, hopping at them, just get hands. You see Devontae Adams, like a great example. And I hate to bag on, probably the greatest route runner in the game. But when he was going up against Patrick Surtain this year against the Broncos, he did a hezi release and got jammed because he kind of hopped up and his chest popped up, right? And so that causes that DB to have an open target. So we have to make sure it's more of a reach step with the front foot, pushing off the back, maintain a good pad level. So you see how he goes right, steps with the right, left, right into the crossover. You just have to master the steps. You have to find a rhythm of the steps that help you. You want to think reach right, cross left, right. And when you could threaten that leverage, that could set you up for a fade outside. He goes into more of like kind of a diamond release and slips underneath, which is a great route here from Keenan Allen, but he's attacking him. He's closing space and giving a crossover. So that kind of hezzy slide or hezzy, I would call this a hezzy skip to the inside into a crossover. That is a great release to use to beat that inside shade man coverage. Let's play this thing again, full speed. Great job by Allen threatening him and then working to the outside to win on that diamond release. Okay, so now a lot of the times when you see wide receivers, getting a lot of separation with a release, breaking a guy's ankle, having that nasty footwork off the line, it comes from a premeditated plan of building your releases off of one another. Now, I know I talk about that a lot, but what's a release that I could actually use? So how many times have you seen wide receivers, you got inside shade, his splits cut down, and they do a little hesitation move and go run the fade? You see Devontae Adams do it a lot. You see Justin Jefferson do it a lot if you want to check out their film. And it's a great move because anytime that a DB sees you kind of hesitate and slide to the outside, he's probably going to sit inside because he's expecting you to do a move and run a slant. But we can easily get him on a fade. So now what's another thing that I could add to that? And that would be a slide diamond release. So we make it look even more like a fade. So let's play this full speed. This is Thayer Thomas. He slides, takes off on 3 steps, and it's just another way to make your routes look like a fade, fellas. Constantly, we're trying to get this DB to chase us. I heard somebody say that the other day, and I actually liked how that sounded. We're trying to get this DB to chase us on a lot of plays. So, we're always trying to get him to chase us on what? On a fade. So you pairing your releases together, maybe the DB's seen this before, maybe we've used this on him, is a great way to get him to go chase, great way to go get him to chase that goal line fade. So he comes off the ball, does a little hesitation slide, and then he goes right into the 1, 2, 3. But for those 3 steps, after you do that little hezzy slide, you got to be fast. It's got to be 0, 100. It's got to be the same speed as a fade. Your pad level has to look like you're catching a fade, and you got to be able to put the brakes on a dime so you could slip back underneath. A lot of wide receivers will do this. They'll hesitate to the outside. They'll take those 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, but that cut's not explosive. They don't throw by, and they end up taking like 3 steps at that break point, which just allows the DB to recover. We have to be patient, explode, get out of the break quickly so I could accelerate and go win the race to the ball. Because when this DB knows he got beat, he is doing whatever possible to try to recover and make a play. But if I accelerate and go win the race to the ball, he has got no chance. That is a textbook release there, so a slide into a diamond release. Now, you could play with this a little bit, fellas. You could just slide and he wants to sit, go run the fade. Maybe I slide, he starts to come out a little bit more. I hit him with a crossover, I go run a slant. But you got to know, too, this is a long developing release. So this is maybe not something that you want to use in every situation. If you're like maybe in a situation where it's a double slant concept, like you probably just got to go. You probably just maybe do like a quick little wide step and then run the slant, or maybe a diamond release, maybe not a slide diamond. But if you're in a situation where the QB's maybe doing like a play action fake and he's trying to hit you on this slant, the play action fake obviously takes a while with the running back. So you have some more time to work this route and get open. But you got to know when to use it. You got to know how to use it. And you have to know how to set up a DB by making your releases look the same. Let's play this again, full speed. Great job sliding, hitting that diamond, and then winning on that slant route. Okay, so last release I want to talk about here is something we call a split release. But a lot of people do not know how to use this split release efficiently and to actually be sudden and explosive with the split release. So I think everybody's done this at one point or another. I'm going to play this full speed where you split your feet, try to freeze the DB, and then leave the DB. This is a great example here from Sterling Shepard running this route. So when he does this split release, what I want you to pay attention is where his body is. Look how where it starts and look how where it finishes. He does not pop up. So many guys have tried this split release before, and they will pop straight up in the air with their chest. Their feet will be almost like extended inside their frame, and they will get jammed. You have to almost think of it like there's a small door over the top of your head, and if you pop up, you're going to hit your head on the door. You are moving your feet, not your body. And I think it's pretty obvious the reason why. Like we talked about in that Keenan Allen clip, if you pop your chest up and you expose your chest, all it takes is one good punch from this DB, and you are jammed. We have to keep an explosive pad level position. So what's the split release? You're essentially splitting your feet. You are taking your front foot, and watch how his front foot doesn't go back. It doesn't stay in place, because that's what a lot of guys will do too. It goes out. And he brings his back foot up. So his front foot goes out back foot goes up, and he gets to a position of balance. Now, why do you get to a position of balance like this? Because when we have a DB, I love this release against head up press. You could use it against any type of press. Inside shade, head up, outside shade, but when you split, you can react. So like, let's say for whatever reason he splits and this DB doesn't hold to the outside. Let's say this DB jumps inside. Because he's in a position of balance, and I honestly would probably like his feet to be a little bit closer. If it were me, I would say to keep your feet just outside your shoulders, not way outside your shoulders. But again, very twitchy, very sudden movement, so I'm not going to complain too much. But when we split like this, you could go either way. He jumps way to the inside. I could just push off of this foot and take the outside release on a dig, work to stack, work to throw by, whatever. It's a reaction. I do this split release. He stays to the outside. Cool. I could just push off of this outside foot and get up into the route. The reason why I don't like the wide base is because your feet can end up like this. And if this DB were to get hands, you could be very, very off balance. Because when your feet are wide, like naturally on a split, you want to drive off of this leg and open up with the left leg. But because your base is so wide, your next step is almost going to be like a negative step. You see how he takes a negative step and this foot crosses over? That's something we never want to do. We never want to cross over with the top foot. But again, his feet were quick. His feet were sudden. He had some cushion with the DB, so it doesn't make as big of a difference. But I would just tell you guys to have your feet a little bit more inside your frame. So remember, fellas, we are splitting my feet. We can react off the DB, and there's a small door over my head. I do not want to pop up and hit it. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job being sudden with that move by Sterling Shepard, and then winning on that dig route. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to leave those in the comments section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys as usual. And again, fellas, if you would like to come out and train with us in 15 different states this offseason, we will be traveling out to. Check out that very first link in the description below. We'd absolutely love to have you out. I'll see you guys next time.